This is, according to the box, the world's smallest Atari 2600, and this does actually play some Atari 2600 games. They are built onto this machine. Super Impulse reached out to me saying, we gotta send you one of these. This is the Tiny Arcade Atari 2600. I love the fact it's kind of hard to see there, but the box, it comes in like a retro room with the wood paneling on the walls and all that. That's what my room looked like. That's when I played my Atari 2600, we had wood paneling in our front room. Includes 9 Atari games, including Pac-Man. Let's check it out. All right, now this is pretty amazing. I gotta tell you, this looks cool. This is your classic CRT style console TV. Maybe something that you would have had in the late 70s, super early 80s. Atari 2600 came out in 1977. This is not the TV that we had growing up, but it is the TV that my grandma had, with the giant turn knobs and everything. So that's pretty interesting. This is your Atari 2600. It's just your classic style here. The toggle switches don't do anything on this device, but the cartridge there, that's going to be like your power button or maybe your reset button. The power for the device is underneath the television. Just a little added feature, the connecting the device from the Atari to the console television is one of these switcher devices. Now, way back, if you're not familiar, you would have, you would go through like your coax, for instance. And the switch would tell you, like, if you're playing the video game, you switch it to game. If you're watching TV, you switch it to TV. It's a little path thing, a little divider. And this is your Atari 2600 joystick. For what it was, for what it is, for what it was back in the day, bringing arcade games to your home console, this was actually a pretty solid joystick, in my opinion, for back in the day. I had no problems with this thing. I just hold on to it. You hold on to it with your left hand, and then your left button is the button as you controlled with the your right hand for the joystick. At least that's what I did. All right, let's power this on and see what it looks like. So, oh, and if you're wondering about this little tab thing underneath it, you can pull this out. So now it's like angled if you like want to see it better. Another neat feature. Oh, how do I get it back in? There we go. Ooh, let's not do that too hard. Oh, and look at this. I didn't even notice these down there. There we go. Ta-da! Change it much, but it's okay. Okay, here we go. Powering on for the very first time. Screen looks pretty good. Press start. I'm going to push the start on. I'm going to see if this is start. Nope. Push the button. Oh, it's literally telling me to push the button. There we go. All right, my eyesight's not too great there, and I don't know how well it's showing up on film here, but you know, here I might zoom in. Cameraman, zoom in. And by the time it took me to do that, it's already powered off. All right, we have Tempest, Warlords, Pac-Man, Asteroids, Breakout, Centipede, Combat, Millipede, Missile Command, and Pong. So, pretty decent selection here. And these are going to be, I bet, the Atari 2600 versions of these games. Obviously, it's the Atari 2600. I'm not familiar. I love Tempest in the arcade. I'm not familiar with it, actually, for the 2600. We never had this one. But we'll go ahead and check it out here. We'll check out all these games. Now, this is the arcade version of Tempest. Wait a minute. All right, it said Atari 2600, but this is the arcade version. Oop. I'm not complaining. I'd rather have the arcade. I'd rather have the arcade version, right? Ooh, sure moves fast. You do have to push left and right to move left and right. Tempest in the arcade has a little turn dial. Well, there you go. A little bonus for you. I was thought we were going to get the Atari 2600 version. I was going to say, I don't remember seeing an Atari 2600 version. I don't do very good, but nice to see. Well, let's see what else is on here. We got Warlords. This is the arcade version as well. Warlords is like, in my opinion, one of the original party games. 4 players simultaneous. You have to protect your thing from those deals. And a little Pong element where you just like bounce it back and forth. But if they get to your home base there on the inside of your castle walls, that's game over for you. Nice. I'm going to hit the power button on the console itself, and that does bring me back out. So here's Asteroids. So I have a feeling these are all going to be the arcade versions, except for Pac-Man for the Atari 2600. Woo! You know what's funny? Whenever I played Asteroids, I never flew around. I always just stayed right in the middle and let them come to me. I know it's probably not the best strategy, but yeah, it worked for me. Breakout, start, option. So a couple of options here, and so this, okay, this is not the Atari version, nor is it the arcade version. This is like made for this, I believe, especially with an option screen like that. We didn't have options in video games until like the Sega Genesis. That's the first time I remember seeing them. You know, outside of like computer games that might have something or other. Let me go back to that. See, look at options: slow, medium, fast. Okay, just curious. Centipede. This looks like the arcade version to me. Not the Atari version, I know that. I played me a ton of Centipede for the Atari 2600. Fun game, though. Ooh, did I die? No, I missed it. Combat. Atari Combat. Oh, this one's really hard to see. In fact, I doubt it's even showing up on the screen. Barely. You can barely see it. Barely see it. But this is another, like, one of the first great versus games. We have Millipede, and this is your arcade version of Millipede. Oh, that sound. That sounds just nostalgic to me. Missile Command. Another favorite of mine. You have to, the missiles explode, and this seems like it's overclocked. Like it's, it's definitely more the arcade version than the Atari 2600 version. I'm saving Pac-Man for last. Here's Pong, and again, made for the console Pong. Oh my god, you're gonna have to speed it up there. Hold on, let me back out. Full paddle, half paddle. Oh, they don't have an option here. I guess I'll go half paddle. Oh, so this makes it smaller. Okay, well, there's Pong. Alright, where is it? Here's Pac-Man. I said it was the Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man, and already that is not, but we'll see what it looks like when I click the button here. Okay, that's definitely the Atari version of Pac-Man. Only I'm going super slow. Come on. Alrighty. It's as if somebody made a clone of the Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man. This is an instance where it's like, you know, maybe they couldn't get the, you know, the actual license for actual Pac-Man, but they're able to get the Atari version. The fact that it includes Pac-Man is an extra. But just for how this thing looks, you know, some cool arcade games on here from Atari. Missile Command, Centipede, Warlords is always a fun one. You can only play one player though on Warlords. But still, oh, those sounds. And even though it's Atari Pac-Man, even though it's the Atari 2600 version of Pac-Man, I played a ton of this. People consider it a really, really bad game. I liked it. Available at Target. That's where you can find these. Thanks for watching.